welcome to Speak Your Perspective. Obviously, Justin, you know him as Justin, aka Face. Obviously, you know me as Shabir, but SB the student.
Yeah.
Candace Grey, welcome to Speak Your Perspective.
Whole government name, huh?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess we could beep that part out already, right? She's acting like she's got a record or something. Holy shit.
I know.
That is straight up wrestle energy right there.
Well, Candace was one of the, back in the day, you weren't messing with Candace. There was no girls that wanted to mess with Candace. And then if they knew they were messing with her, it was just like, oh man, I better get ready.
But you know what though? It's so funny that people were like really afraid of me because I only ever been in one real fight. Seriously, one. I never got into any fights with other people.
Well, maybe it was just probably then I guess the fear because you played sports too and you were...
I think my reputation was built off of that one fight because I actually...
That's all it takes sometimes.
Pretty much. And it wasn't even in high school. It was in middle school.
I know. Because you had that rep.
From before I went, yeah. I was told I needed to have one. So I got into one fight and I took a... maybe I shouldn't talk about that. It's behind me. But let's just say I went home and got a something to something. And that was...
And the rep was built.
That was it.
It's funny how stories live on like that too, though.
Man.
But then now you reflect back on it to be able to say, nah, that wasn't really like that. I just had to play that part to whatever.
Sometimes.
Survive.
I think so. And I think that a lot of it for me was I played the part, but not only did I play the part, I was the part. But I think people got afraid because of like the play fights that I used to get into. Because I remember those were the ones that were like, it was one of those things that it could become something real.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mess around. It was like always 2-3 people trying to gang up on me. And I would body all of them because I was like, you will not have me out in these streets disrespecting me like this. Nah.
But do you realize how much of us I think all of us carried that. You're not going to be disrespecting me.
Yeah.
Like, your name mattered.
Yeah.
And I think that's not to say it doesn't matter because your name, in fact, you realize how much more your name means, I think, as you get older. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff that you invested in, like, oh, like, if my name gets associated with it, it's, you know, like, it wouldn't necessarily carry on that way. No. You wouldn't necessarily react that way. Doesn't mean you still wouldn't let somebody know what it is. Yeah. But there's certain things where you could easily be like, man, I'm going to walk away because I can walk away and it not stain my name. It not be like, oh crap, I have to defend this even though it's some bullshit. Like, you could walk away and it not even stain, it not even move you if you had that knowledge. But it's those growing pains that you have to go through sometimes. Exactly.
I think it was mostly because a lot of the people that were older than me were like, yo, you have to be a certain way. If you are too soft, they will do X, Y, Z. And we grew up in the era with like, you know, the beast modes, you know what I mean? The ones that were ahead of us were monsters. And you didn't want to get caught in these streets with them because they had a reputation. And then it was just like, I don't want a reputation necessarily like them, but at the same time, I have to know if they mess with me that I can defend mine.
100.
And for me, like, I'm like one of the older cousins in my family, and my cousins were coming behind me. And I was just like, I have to defend and protect them. I don't have an older sister or brother that I can rely on. It's me. That's it.
You are the beginning of the lineage.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to establish it.
Exactly. So I felt like I had to do that for my cousins, even though they were boys and I was a girl. I had to be even more savage than them because I'm like, you mess with my cousin, we're rolling through. I remember one time, my cousin, I won't say his name, but my cousin had a fight, and I remember he was in the fight and people were holding me back. Yeah. And I was like, bruh. They're like, yo, Candace is coming. And they're like holding me back. I'm like, bruh. I'm not going to do anything, but what did he say? I will drive over you. Like, you will be a speed bump today. You're threatening my cousin's life. Excuse me? Nah.
I know.
Man.
Family matters.
Man.
But I'm changed now. I'm different. I'm not the same. I'm not the same anymore. I'm a good girl. I mean, whatever. But I'm not like that. And I was never like that. But I had to be like that. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, all too well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that for me, though, What I did not realize that I carried when I was in Rex versus when I got out was when I left and I went back and acted a damn fool. I was always about that life, and I still wake up about that life. I tell everybody every day I wake up choosing violence. So don't play with me.
Yeah.
But I don't have to necessarily bring the physical violence anymore. I can cut you with my words, and sometimes that's a little bit deeper because I want you to go home and I want to live rent free in your head.
Yeah.
Most days, because that's how I am. But
oh my God.
But yeah, what happened was after I moved away, because I left Rex, I actually finished out my school year in West Humber, but I stayed a year after you guys left.
Oh.
Yeah, I stayed a year later.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah,
I stayed behind.
Yeah.
So I was driving from like where I live now to Toronto every day during that period. And then when I went to university, I'd gotten out, going to York now, doing my thing. And I remember going back to the hood and I saw somebody. I was at Jamestown and I saw somebody I recognized, and I was like rolling down my window of my car and be like, hey. And I'm like, what the hell? Am I Becky? Like, what the hell? I'm like gonna get murdered out in these streets, because you forget when you're outside of that culture, like you don't have to put on that persona.
Relax.
And I relaxed and I went to the hood and I was doing stupidness. I was like, I rolled back up my window. I'm like, you could have got shot. Like, this man does not know you, bro. And you're out here acting all foolish. Like, you would be dead. Like, they would just find the body in the car.
You know what's weird about everything that we're saying right now? It's like we're still sharing it from our perspective, right? Yeah. And I like to think, for the most part, it wasn't as bad as it was for certain people that probably look at it a completely different way. We're like, I wanted to get the fuck out of there as soon as possible. I hated that place.
See, the funny thing is, I didn't want to leave.
No, I'm not talking about. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about people like that did get bullied or did get like, you know what I mean? Like, there's that whole perception out there too that it's kind of sad looking back now.
Yeah.
At certain things too. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, okay, you got your story from fucking grade 6 or whatever it was.
Man.
So, all right, so you're good. You're cruising, right? And I felt like we kind of like knew how to carry ourselves, essentially. Like, what do you get away from not doing and what do you get away from doing, or whatever, you know? Yeah. But then there's the other people that were just picked on nonstop, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. but you know, that's high school. That's not even necessarily the hood.
But I don't know. I agree.
No, I couldn't imagine it, but at the same time, I don't think I would have handled it differently, simply because
that part.
I already had built up a mentality that regardless of whatever happened, I would still conduct myself the same way. I had to be a person of my word. So if I did this, if I rode, if I, you know what I mean? If I stood my ground, I stood my ground. So regardless of what people were saying about me, I had to have a strong enough mentality that if I took it home with me. So when you're being raised in a home that you've come here from somewhere else, the mentality is different. The things you have to deal with at home is different. The stress levels, the pressure to be excellent is different. Versus being born and raised here. They don't understand. So after you live in an immigrant household, they hurt your feelings all the time.
And that's the thing, and that's not just West Indian. Like, especially growing up in Rex. I know you know it. Like, your upbringing wasn't necessarily the same as her upbringing, but you can understand exactly what she's talking about from an immigrant parent, first generation.
I'm laughing at when you said the flyer game was hard. Like, so my parents had a driving school. So I remember. I'm putting up those flyers in the middle of the night. So I'm that guy. So I know all about the fucking flyer game. Every bus shelter in like fucking Etobicoke, like I would be putting that up in the middle of the night. So even at times, I thought it was cool because I'd get to stay outside of my bedtime, right?
Right.
And then there's certain areas that I would go put them up where there'd be all kinds of shit going on. Example, Jug City. That whole intersection, sometimes there'd be fucking cops outside, and I would know that it's some of the older kids and they're all out and something's happening. It'd be almost cool for them to just fucking see me out at that time. Meanwhile, I'm putting up a fucking flyer on the fucking bus shelter for you to get some students for my parents. But no, I get that. It's just interesting to look back at all of it. But even with the conversation, it's like almost perfect for how it influenced and grew you into be who you are, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, perfect way to kind of ask. There's whole bunch of things that have been going on in the last little while. Not even that to say, really. And you're out there just dealing with it, not even knowing that you're dealing with it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I've had a lot of good conversations with you over the last little while with what you've been going through. I would love to hear about that, man. Like, who is your go-to person when you're kind of like, I know you're really tight with your mom, which is, I don't know, it's cute to see online.
I guess my mom is one of my go-tos, but like,
and it doesn't have to be names. I'm just asking, like.
Yeah, I think my bestie is the person that I normally rely on the most. Like, I message her, we talk like daily, or voice note each other daily. And when things pop off or happen, she's the first person I want to talk to. And it was so funny that you were talking about that, because this week, a lot of things happened this week, and I was so frustrated, but she was sick. And I didn't want to inundate her with voice notes because I knew she was under the weather. And I was trying to be a considerate friend, but boy, did it eat me up that I could not express myself, because the frustration that I was feeling, I was about to, someone was going to get bodied because I was over it.
I'm going to stop you real quick just to get everybody caught up with.
Never.
Yeah, I was trying to look for the perfect moment, but she just kept going. So I was like, let me just jump in.
What do you want to know? What?
Now, I was going to say for everybody else to kind of just know what you've been going through, to just give the backstory of why I even asked that, because... You
want me to talk about that?
Well, I figure like you share it, right? So
I do.
Yeah. So I would love to just
know
share
what's
it.
Up. Okay.
Yeah. Let everyone else know what's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, September that passed, I fainted when I was at church. Actually, I was singing on the stage, and I had gone down to get a new mask and came back up because I was background singing that day. And I was like, I can't breathe. And then I went down, and they thought I was praying. And I was like, I can't breathe. And I was like, oh my gosh, the world is spinning. Is this what it feels like to faint? Bruh, this is a new, the thoughts that were going through my head. I was just like, this is different. Oh my gosh, I've never been this close to death. So the world is spinning. So I was like, before I drop and it just become a whole bad situation, let me just kneel down. So they thought I was praying. My mom was home and watching everything on Zoom because of COVID. They've had to switch to online services, and then they got, gradually got people back into the building, certain amount of people, blah, 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 blah. So the worship team was, of course, the people that were going in. And then I've had this cough for, I would want to say at least 3 years. I'm pretty sure I've had it since 2018, because I got the flu one time really bad and the cough never left. Mm-hmm. So then when I came to the stage and I was just like, I can't breathe, and I'm on the ground and they think I'm praying, my worship leader turns and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I can't breathe. So then they're like, okay, maybe we'll take you down. And I was like, all right, cool. So one of my fathers from church, he came on the stage. He's like, do you need a seat? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I just need a seat. I'll sit down. It's fine. Cool. They're like, no, you're coming off the stage. I was like, all right, fine, Dad, no problem. He takes me off the stage and I faint. I've never fainted a day ever in my entire life. I fainted. So they call the ambulance, took me to the hospital. They're calling my mom, updating her, letting her know what's going on. Ambulance comes, takes me. And mind you, I was treated before twice for pneumonia because I've had this cough. They kept sending me in. And I was waiting for an MRI appointment. When the doctor came in and my mom got to the hospital at the same time, they let me know that they were going to set me up for a CT scan. So she came in around the time that they were letting me know. We went to do a CT scan, came back, and he's like, yeah. When he came to the door, he's like, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry to deliver this news, because he's like, what you thought was pneumonia is actually lung cancer. So at that point, when they got the results, they were like, so it's metastatic. There's a 7-centimeter tumor in your lung. There's mets in your back, and your T12 is broken because of the metastatic cancer, and your liver is riddled with cancer.
But now I guess caught up to the friend. So this is what the friend's dealing with, because you gotta be some really good friend at that point. Mm-hmm. And family, bro. Because I was really getting at your mom, because here I'll spit it up. There was a video that I was watching, right? Mm-hmm. With you guys, and I've watched a couple of them, and it was just recently too, where she's you guys are going back and forth, and she's basically like talking about she caught you with a with the diaper. Like you're like, oh. I was just you know, she didn't want to go. She's talking about her worst moments or something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, I didn't want to go through this again, and like she went there. I wanted her to go to the hospital or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then when you finally went and you're talking about it, and she's like, yeah, and she was in a diaper, like in the middle of all this serious commotion of her vomiting and what the whole thing's been like. Boom, she throws that in. I thought that was hilarious because like, yo, you're able to have humor through this, which I think is super like awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have it any other way because I am not a serious person. And if anyone thinks that they know me and thinks that I'm serious, they're an absolute liar, and you know me not. I'm just saying, you don't know me at all.
That's funny.
Yeah. Man. And it was so funny because the diaper moment, when me and my mom were talking about that, I was so adamant. I'm like, give me a diaper diaper. And she was like, what? And I was like, no, put me in a diaper. I can't trust my bowels right now, bruh. We're not going to have this situation again. Yeah. We're not going to do this. And she was just so like shocked. And she was like, okay. And then she took fun like in that moment, and she took a picture of it. So like she's like, I'm blackmailing you with this. I'm like, listen, I'm the one that requested this, ma'am. Like, you tried it. You know what I mean? You can't embarrass me with something that I asked for, bruh. You can't embarrass me with this.
I always say you can't fully deal with a problem unless you're able to laugh at it. Like once you're in a position where you can laugh at the problem, it can only move you so much.
Yeah.
You know? So the fact that you're able to deal with what you're dealing with in such a humorous fashion, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like it shows the strength and courage of a person, really. If you can laugh in the face of danger, you know what I mean? Like, what is danger?
Yeah, it's true.
Right? It's a blessing.
Thank you. And I think like I am this way now because I was diagnosed 9 years ago.
Okay.
With stage 2 breast cancer. So the fact that this came around again, I was devastated because it was something that wasn't even on my radar. But at the same time, it was like, okay, I get a redo. I get an opportunity to handle a little bit differently because before I was so serious, so depressed, so like it was so hard because not only was I dealing with cancer, but also the breakdown of my marriage because I was going through a separation, a divorce, whatever, you know what I mean? So it was my life imploded at that time and I didn't know how to handle it. But through that journey, it helped me to discover who I am, who I want to be and become. Because of course, as we were talking about before, when we were growing up, I had a persona. I had like this ideal person who I was, you know, this violent, aggressive person. And yes, I am those things, but not to the extent that people knew it. You know what I mean? And I no longer had to be that. So now it was time to discover and reimagine who I could be. You know, the first journey helped prepare me for this one because I was the same, but I was also different. You know what I mean? I think I'm more honest, more blunt, more, you know, me. I'm comfortable in my own. Oh my gosh, stop this.
I'm sorry. I did totally
I'm going to punch you, bro. Like, listen, hands will be caught in these streets. I'm not above it. I'm not. Thank you. Come again. That's all I can think about. I lost what I was saying, but okay. We're done.
Nah, I just thought it was funny because it's like you're dealing with it with a second time. You know what I mean?
Time. Yeah, and it's more serious than the first one. Yep.
Yeah.
And they say it's incurable.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that.
And that's it. That's it though. You're not gonna have me backed into a corner. I'm gonna steer this bus. You know what I mean? So you're steering this bus.
Yep, it's true. And I think that it's so important that I acknowledge the fact that the first journey, in face of that, even though I knew I would survive and it was curable, it taught me how to live. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So that's what I brought with me from that journey to this one. I'm still living my life. I paused my life the first time. I laid down in that bed and was like, I'm not getting up. I prayed. I was like, God, like, take me out. Like, I'm not about taking my own life, but I don't want to wake up tomorrow. And when I woke up, I was like, damn, I'm here again. All right. I gotta live. I gotta live.
That is wild. Like, you're saying it like it's nothing, but like, that is crazy. because it's not just the physical, it's the mental too.
Yeah.
And you're literally there saying, yo,
Yeah.
like that's enough.
Yeah. So in that journey, even though it was traumatic and it was very hard, and I handled it very differently because nobody knew except for the people that were in my close immediate family and contact, and people that I actually talked to, I shared with, because I'm not shy in sharing, but I felt like it was a vulnerable thing that people will look at me as weak, or people will be like, oh my gosh, you're so strong. What does that even friggin' mean? Strong.
Yeah.
I'm out here battling for my life. I'm trying not to die tomorrow. Yeah, this has been trash. Like these last 10 years have legit been trash, and I'm expecting better.
That part. That part. No, for real. And it's funny how it kind of goes full circle, going back to what we were talking about in preparing ourselves, like how the hood like just prepares you. I feel like that's an element that prepared you for this journey and where you're at now. But also,
would you agree with that? Would you say that?
I was hardened.
Yeah.
I was able to be like, let's roll. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
we got to do chemo. Let's go. Like, I DMX'd on it. I was like rolling through real hard. I was like, bruh, I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, I was coming for it. I'm like, there's no other way. There's live or die. I'm living. But
you're too funny.
but you see, before it was the performance.
Man.
It was the performance.
It was the performance.
Yeah.
But then she's like, no, I got to regroup. I got to find this sincere authenticity.
Yeah.
And now that she's found it, that's why she's able to battle it so much better.
It wasn't always a performance, is what I'm saying. It was kind of there.
It was part of me.
Yeah.
It's always been part of me.
Yeah.
It's just the level or the extent that I showed it to other people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I am hard, but I am also fragile. I do cry. I'm so many different things.
So what I feel like what I'm hearing is, it became more like you got to really see yourself on a whole nother level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's certain times that you put on that mask and you know it's the mask. And you might be wearing that mask for so long that you fucking forget the mask is on.
Yeah.
And you become whatever that fucking thing is. But now it's like you're looking at whatever that thing is and you're like, is this real? Is this real? I don't know. It's wild how it makes you think that way. But a journey like this would.
Yeah.
But you also have a strong faith.
I do.
I know we jumped in. We didn't do the prayer. Do you still want to do that? Because I know that's your thing.
Of course, because it wouldn't be me. As I said, I'm a little hood and a little gospel. I don't know which one shows up, but
I feel like Bun, wherever he is, no, I'm kidding, is right now thinking, teach some of these guys how to do their prayers.
All right.
I was going to say, though, maybe we should go for a quick break and then maybe
on the way. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, shit.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Boom.
Perfect.
Boom.
Before we even get into this segment, I say we light the incense, get the mood right. Sense by Stush. You already know. Follow it on Instagram. Sense by Stush.
Work that promo game. Yeah.
That's it. Well, we show love to our peoples. You know what I mean?
I love it. I
we
love
show
it.
love to our peoples.
I got it.
I like how you got it in there.
Yeah, man.
Pause.
Wow. I only got that a second later. All right.
We got it lit?
Yes, it's lit.
There we go.
It's lit.
Do you not see it?
No, I don't.
It's right here.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It took me a while too. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, just find that quick.
Huh? Blow?
Yeah. There we go.
Blow it all out.
Blow it all up.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
Yeah.
Now it's legit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Sense by Stush. All right.
We doing that prayer?
We back. I say, you know what? We should save it for the end. I
Yeah?
say we just do our thing and then wrap it on up. Pause.
All right.
Got it.
Let's get into the faith side. I want to hear that. And a big part of why I want to hear it is we all go through bullshit or whatever those times, right? And a lot of what I was saying is kind of like you're one of those people that I go to get my head right. And I admire the shit that you say so much, man, because it pumps me up. And I feel like that part of it is so like inspiring. But on top of that, the faith aspect is so interesting to me because I'm not necessarily, and correct me, like Christian, right? Yeah. But what you say is still so, let me get that energy. Like, let me hear that. So thank you. And let's hear that.
Okay. So, in Caribbean, I'm actually Jamaican. Apparently, I'm Canadian actually, for the most part. But I was born in Jamaica, raised here. But basically, I was told.
Not know that.
No, you didn't.
No,
I came here when I was 4.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I migrated like many people. Anyways.
Didn't know that. There you go.
But it's because I don't have an accent. I don't have I can't turn it on and off or speak patois at all. Yeah. My family, I so like love and hate them for the ones that can turn it on, like speak patois and then turn it off. I don't have that capacity or that ability, because I was just like, when I came here and they're like, oh, you might have to go into remedial school. I was like, listen, I'm Becky with the good hair. What do you mean? Pardon me. I spoke real proper English very quick, so I lost it so quickly. And my mom was just like, yeah, don't tell people that you're actually Jamaican because they will embarrass you.
That's a big thing.
So, so I was born and raised in the church is what I was told, because I was going to the church in the womb, apparently. But I feel as though I had faith and I got baptized when I was 12. But I feel like I got worse when I got baptized. After that, I was just like, oh, the world out here is something for me to explore. And I did the worst things after I got baptized. So let's not talk about those things. But
how old were you when you got baptized?
12.
Okay, but then it's that age too, right?
Yeah, it was like a turning point, and I feel like I also did it for the wrong reasons too. I've always been raised in it. My grandfather brought me to church for the most part. My mom worked a lot because she was a single parent, providing a life, and she was also going to school. So she worked like 3 jobs, went to school full time to provide a life for me. She was a teacher back home, but decided to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse here. Yeah. So she, basically complete career shift and did everything for me as much as possible. And so I was always going with my grandfather 3 times a week, every church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, every night. And I was just like, I hate this place. Like, why do I exist to be traumatized by this church? Anyways, it wasn't trauma, but I just felt like in that time you kind of are going through that rebellion stage and you're like, I want to whatever, right? But what shifted for me, I think, was my first journey. I had always gone to church, but I went to church because my parents went, because my grandfather went, because my family was going. But then when I became a little bit older, and I would say even before the first journey, at some point it transitioned from me being forced to go to me wanting to go. And though I wasn't at the place where I fully believed there was a God, but I did not have a relationship with him, because everything that I learned as I grew up in the faith was fear-based and not relational-based.
Was there like that for you too? Was there someone else influencing you to go instead of you wanting to go? Because now I remember you being the way you were too, which is interesting.
It's funny because the same way you're saying you remember me like that, I remember her like that. Yeah. Because I remember faith being so much a big part of her. Yeah. For me, it was so I was raised on it same way. I felt like I had a relationship, but it was more childlike. It's like, okay, like I'm Bajan and I'm Christian, and it was like,
I thought it was more than childlike for you, bro.
No, I mean like when it first started.
Okay, so how old is that?
So then, I mean like young. This is like single digit type young. But then my grandfather, he came down from Barbados, must be grade 7, grade 8. And it was kind of like, how come like guys aren't practicing more? How come you're not going to church? Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like because when he left, like that's when we started going to church. So I felt like, I don't know, he must have like talked to my dad. I was like, I don't know, right? But like I feel like come on, like let's make this more of a thing. So then we started going to church. And then I guess that was like the birth of my own relationship. Yeah. Like I could say I took ownership of my own relationship with God. Like you could say it started out being forced, but it got to a point where like I was the only one going to church. Or
so what age is that is what I'm trying to say.
So just like 15, 16, like right after, like that's when like that's my own huge. That's when my own maturity relationship, like, and that's when like I started reading the Bible, and I felt like I read the Bible a few times, but even then, even looking back, I'm reading it with, I don't know, infant eyes, so to speak. Like, I feel like if I were to sit down and like read it now, it hits me. And even like, I don't read it like how I used to. I need to get back onto it, practice that more. Yeah. But even when I read it now, it's so much different when I read it back then. So funny enough, when I started, so there was Sunday school. Yeah. But I didn't like it. Me personally, I didn't like it because I kind of felt personally like I knew all, like, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to go to church. I wanted to more hear the word. I wanted to more, let the word touch me, and then let me take the word and go out and practice. Go out and, you know what I mean? Like I go to church. I went to church to charge up, so to speak. Like, or if I'm going through something, like let me hear something that will like heal me or like reassure me or motivate me to just conquer or, you know what I mean, overcome. So that's where I was going to church. So I wasn't forced to. There was times like it felt like a chore, not gonna lie. Like, you know what I mean? It does feel like a chore. Like you got to get up and do anything that doesn't cause you to like lean up and just chill. Like it can be a chore, so to speak, no matter how much you love it. Yeah. But at the same time, it did give me that sense of energy, that motivation, that charge up, that, you know. And it started out early, but I had my foundation from young, and
even that's interesting. So you're.
For me, I'm just like, I mad respect because I was out here in these streets being super disrespectful in church. But I was a nightmare.
I was still doing my thing though. Like I don't want to, and that's the thing, like for me at least, there's no judgment. Even when I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, there's no judgment. Like you're getting baptized and then you're rebelling.
I lived my life.
Right? Because at the same time, I was doing my thing at the same age. Like we're still.
I still remember something that you said to me that I can't forget.
Because I know what you're going to say.
I know you do. So like, he's trying to explain to me, I don't lie. I just don't tell the truth. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I never understood it until he explained it. Then I'm like, oh, okay. Do you remember? Is that what you thought I was going to say? Yeah. He was on some other levels back then. Because there's levels to lying and manipulating and getting away with shit. He was already up here back then.
But even like how he's talking about his relationship, but like I went to charge up. I was like, I went to church to sleep. I
already have a conversation with you. Listen,
right?
I don't lie, but I don't always tell the truth.
But
no problem, my son.
I feel like that's part of everybody's young journey. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? You can't be, not everybody's going to be having that wisdom out the gate. Like, I feel like we had to go through our trials and tribulations. We had to go through our own sinful ways and see what the taste of sin, how it, like the repercussions of it.
Oh man.
And we're still nobody's perfect out here.
Nope.
Like, you know what I mean? Our relationship with God is still still there. It's still real. We still have it. And just because it is we appreciate it now doesn't undermine our relationship back then. I feel like our relationship was what it was, and it grew into what it is now. And you only hope that it will continue to mature as you go on. Yeah. Personally, I mean, if that's your thing, some people don't believe in God, and I mean, that's how they practice their life. And
you know what's crazy about that? Sometimes that could bring you to him too.
And for me, I try not to. It's not about your own relationship with God. You don't believe in God, whatever. I'm just all about, are you like righteous or not? Like, are you good energy or not? Like, are you malicious or not? Like, and through time, I'm a realize that. So I don't need you to necessarily align with who I pray to, or like, you know what I mean?
There's probably more atheist people that are connected to like God than there is certain priests and preachers and whatever, you know, like, you know, it's a big front in a lot of sense as well.
For me, that's not to judge. I mean, the Most High is going to be judged. It's not even trying to check. Like for me, it's just, you already know. I know. It's not about a judgment.
No, it's not a judgment.
Especially here, we don't judge here. No. We just talk shit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's lying. I'm totally judging people.
Wow, I know you are. I'm judging you too. Yeah. Anyways, for me, I just feel like faith is just something that I've grown up with. And as I said, it was very unhealthy when I was a kid because it was fear-based. It was just like, oh my gosh, if you do something bad, you have to run and pray real quick because God's gonna do something to me. And it was like I was doing it out of fear instead of out of relationship. And when I got older, even though the switch happened where I was going because I wanted to, and just to come back to your question, if it was like something that was forced, like I was forced to read the word or do whatever, I was forced to do a lot of things because I sing. So they always were trying to push the mic in my mouth, and I was like, listen, I'm not like this. I don't want this attention. And so I was forced, but I also came from my friends. I went with my grandfather and I went to sleep. Like I had this one side that I would sit beside him on, and I would go to sleep. No one could take that shoulder from me because church was a nap time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it was no longer nap time when I was older because it was no longer cute. So I couldn't do it. But then when you get active and you do certain things in the church and then you grow. But I feel like my relationship didn't grow with him until my 20s, until my late 20s, when I decided, you know what I mean? Okay, like I'm coming to this place and I have this belief, but I don't have a relationship because I would only pray to God like he was a genie. And I was like, God, if you give me this job, if you do this thing for me, I will be faithful to you forever. And then once I got the thing, I forgot about it. And I was like, peace, Lord. Thank you for this blessing, but I'm not about this right now.
That's so funny that you said that. So it's almost like I'll say it for myself. There was a point where I didn't even know how to pray. What is my conversation?
Like there was no conversation.
Yeah. And there was a point
only when I needed things.
There you go. You just said it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But not even the maturity to understand that that's all it is.
Yeah.
But I feel like even going back to how I used to read the Bible back then. Yeah, I was reading the Bible, but once again, it's still with that infancy. Yeah. So I feel like the way you were praying back then, the way we were all praying, because I was praying like that too. I feel like that's a part of like our understanding our relationship in its infancy, right? Like now, like you said, the maturity, the maturation of it, we matured, and now our prayer has evolved. Our relationship with God has evolved, and the way we take our footsteps in life has evolved. You know, not moving like a teenager.
Yeah, that too. Like I feel like with prayer specifically, like my parents were into that. We're into that. Yeah. But they lived by example. Like they just did good things. They were good people.
And
like and I don't want to go on a rant about that, but I got to see that. Yeah. And I only understood prayer by what they would define it as. Yeah. I never even understood the language. Yeah. You know, like I could pray in Punjabi. There's a couple of prayers that I know, but I don't really fully know what I'm saying when I'm saying them. Like I just have a general idea. Okay, they're good for this, or they're well for this, or whatever. Yeah. And the part of that's huge is like I never hit any of this until way later on. Like you're saying in your 20s, you're saying like when you're in your teens. I feel like I literally got into understanding this stuff on a deeper level, like maybe like 4 years ago. Like but it's
all legit.
It's wild. It's wild. It's wild because it's funny to hear that you were just asking for shit too. Okay.
Yeah, I was always asking. I'm like, Lord, please don't let me get caught. Please don't let this happen. You know what I mean? Please let me catch the bus. You know what I mean? When you're running to the bus stop, Lord, I will obey. It is a cold winter day.
That's such a natural thing. That's such a natural thing.
I gotta share a funny story because you brought up the TTC thing, right? There was this one bus driver that gave 0 fucks about you ringing that fucking doorbell or the bus bell.
Yeah.
So it used to be what's going through from West Humber through Humber Line and then to the loop and then back. What's it called? I already forgot.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember though. I know what you're talking about.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Whatever. Everyone's ringing it to get off on Humber Line. Yeah. Like not once, not twice. Like they're going off. He would just drive through it every single fucking time, right? And back then I'd be like, this guy's fucking crazy. But it's now reflecting back on it, he could have just been on like, yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was though. Because in my mind, I know man them are bus drivers out here. Yeah. And bro, like, yo, man, shout out to the man them that do like the Route 96, like back in the day. Like, you know what I mean? The 191s, like, you know what I mean? Like them ones, like. But yo, the man, then you're just ringing the bell.
But even if you did it once,
I don't got time for that right now.
He just wouldn't stop there.
He's at work. He's just trying to get through the shift.
I still remember his fucking face. Yeah. Like, because people would be like, yo, you got to stop. And everyone's looking at him like he's crazy, right? Yeah, and he would look back at them like they're crazy. Like, he'd kind of go, oh, I like no words, just a reaction. And then I don't know what happened. I'd get off at the loop and that's it. But he did that at least 3-4 like times that I was on.
Doing that the same way you remember it, and that's a part of your everyday life. Yeah. That's his everyday life, and he's like, man, I gotta get on the bus with these trifling ass kids, man. Gotta take these motherfuckers from Humberwood to Humberline. They're gonna ring this motherfucking bell. Like, I got a migraine, you know what I mean? And I gotta go home. I gotta deal with this trifling ass wife. Like,
it's funny.
He ain't got time for that shit.
I wish I could meet him again and be like, yo, that shit was funny as fuck. Like, reflecting back on it now, if I'm in his shoes, I'm like, that's pretty funny shit right now. Like, you're just like, fuck you guys, I ain't stopping here. I'm not gonna say it like that, but that's what I'm doing.
He wants to get to the first stop, like the main stop, and get all your asses off. Man. So you don't gotta deal with none of y'all.
Shout out to all the TTC drivers.
That's it, man. That's it.
Sneak in there when they fully sauce in the mirror.
Oh shit.
Yeah, That's funny. I'm kind of curious to hear. I feel like I'm privy to some certain information.
Yeah. Because we actually talk.
Exactly.
We're actual friends in real life. Not just here, I just met you. We're not friends. I don't know this man. I've never seen him a day in my life.
It's funny because I get confused because it's like I feel like I know so much, but it's like I want a lot of people to know certain things because I think they're just so fucking interesting, right? Okay. One of them was you did that project.
Which project? My thesis?
Yeah. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Of course.
All right, cool. So I just thought it was so dope that like you kind of went into learning about all of that. And if you could even touch about it, because we just literally spoke about this, where you're like, this is what I'm into, and I can't stop because this is what I am. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're speaking about, but okay. I'll talk about my thesis.
Start there.
I am, therefore I am not. I don't know what you're saying. Like, you are confusing, dude. Bruh. That's not what I said.
That's one of SB's.
Listen, philosopher, I don't understand philosophy at all, so leave me alone. Thanks.
Got it. Start with the thesis.
Okay.
I'll go back to what I was trying to say.
The thesis that ruined my life. I'm going to do a follow-up thesis, a dissertation discussing the fact that this thesis ruined my life and changed my perspective and broke my soul, pretty much, essentially. It's a working title.
The reason I even brought it up is because it made me think differently.
Okay.
So when you brought up the questions, and I forget his name, and you'll probably bring it up, Dubois. Thank you. And just the idea of when you're working, you have a certain mentality, and then when being an immigrant, especially, and then when you're back home, you have a separate personality. I think he refers it to African Americans, and
yes,
then,
he does,
and how you have to act around certain people at work professionally and not fully authentically, and then you have a dual personality when you come back. Because you asked me that, and I never even thought of that until then. And then since I've thought of that, I'm like, holy fuck, I am so different sometimes at work.
When you, of course,
or around certain people, and
So you want me to explain my thesis now?
Yeah.
Because you keep asking me and then you keep talking.
Sorry. Okay.
Bruh.
Anyway, I'm excited.
All right. So my thesis, I don't even remember it because I'm trying to forget it. It was so traumatic. But basically it was discussing authenticity in the workplace and how it pertains to visible minorities. And I used W.E.B. Du Bois' theory on the other self, the double consciousness. That's not the correct name for it, but basically he has this theory that says that as a Black person, you show up in the space and you have these two ideologies, who you are versus who the world perceives you to be.
Oh boy.
And so you have to be always conscious of who you are being perceived to be in the spaces because you are not accepted. So we live with this veil over ourselves, never truly ever being present because we're always perceiving ourselves as other people perceive us instead of living our lives how we are truly supposed to show up in that space and be authentic because of the color of our skin. So we're always going to be on the outside and an other based on that. And what I did was broaden his thesis, not to just focus on Black people, but I asked the question to different ethnic minorities to see if they had the exact same experience of this two-ness. Because I know for myself, I show up in certain spaces, especially in white spaces, I speak differently. I code switch easily because I've learned how to. But when I go back to the hood, I'm like, yeah, bruh, this, that, da 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 da. So you have to learn how to turn it on and off because in a professional setting, that is not appropriate. that is, you're looked down upon because you're like, oh my gosh, are you ghetto? And it's just like the amount of people that come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so well spoken for a Black person. And I'm like, is that a compliment or an insult? I'm not sure, because it honestly falls underneath both categories.
Compliment.
So I took that paper and I talked to 18 different people, you being one of them.
It's out there.
9 men, 9 women of different ethnic backgrounds. And I asked the question, how they show up in these spaces. And do you feel that you can, as a visible minority, show up and be your authentic self? And how I perceived it to be was from my own experience as a Black person. But how they talked about it and how they learned how to be themselves was completely different. And their two-ness showed up in a completely different way than our two-ness as Black people do. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was very interesting. Do you want me to tell the finale or what I learned from the thesis, or?
Hell yeah. I don't want to say anything now. After you asked me a question and you're not letting me answer, I'm just like, okay.
No. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that.
I'm totally joking. I was like, all right, I'm just going to stay quiet. Now let me get that out when I get it out. Please do, because I think this shit is fucking interesting as hell.
100.
I'm obsessed with psychology. Obviously, this is a whole nother thing that kind of comes out, but it's so common. Whereas I'm still processing it because it was so common and right in front of my fucking face that I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this, by the way? Do you visibly feel it?
Yes.
Yeah. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Been.
I'm just waking up.
Been.
Yeah.
Been.
But yeah, go ahead. Go into what you got from it.
So from what I understood from the many different people that I spoke to, our experiences are different in how we show up in our two-ness, right? And so they were authentic in, certain things like bringing their ethnic food and their hair or whatever, right? But how their two-ness showed up was in how they identified or said their names. They allowed other people that were of different cultures or white people, they allowed white people to call them any which name. If they had an authentic name, they changed their names in order to show up in that space and kind of become like them. So I had one girl that I interviewed, and she said that she changed her ethnic name, which is something so beautiful, to something so generic in real life, legally changing her name when she got here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that she wouldn't be other than the people would accept her. Right. And the whole correction piece, when they did have ethnic names, that was something that I didn't even consider, that they were allowing people to call them whichever variation of their name. You know what I mean? And not correcting people, which I have no problem with telling people, listen, if you don't disrespect me, put that A on my name. My name is Candace, not Candice, not Candy, not whatever. You know what I mean?
Someone's got to be calling you Candy.
They do. That's a nickname, right. But only close friends. If I don't know you like that, call me correctly, please. Don't disrespect me. Yeah. I've had people call me Candle, and I was like, listen, let me tell you one thing. I will not be disrespected in these streets. Okay, call me by my proper name.
It's funny that you're saying that, even though I'm laughing about it. But yeah, there's a lot of people where they won't correct me. I will correct myself just because I like saying people's names the correct way.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like, oh, I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And they almost feel like, I didn't care. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe you didn't really care, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's different. But yeah, I feel the same way. I'd want people to know what my name is. But I got so many fucking names. But
exactly. And even you, when we talked in our interview, you kind of talked about the fact that you have different cards. And you give particular cards to different people.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah.
I did not forget that because that was something that was really interesting, that you cater to other people instead of saying your name and saying, hey, blah, 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 blah.
Wrong. No? I'm not catering to someone else. So I have so many names, but they're all my real names. It's not for catering to anybody. I got all my names from my family. So, but what you're referring to on the real estate, when I hand out my cards, Shabir is a very popular South Asian name. And Sunny is also my name via family. My family calls me Sunny. And it's just easier off the tongue for people that can't pronounce Shabir. So if I'm speaking to someone that's, Canadian or just easier for them to say Sunny, I have no problem with that. Here's an email. And then Shabir is just for the person that understands that that's a newcomer or feels more comfortable speaking Punjabi or Hindi or Urdu. So I was definitely not running from it. I was using it more as a branding thing to be like, hey, we could talk like this, and hey, I understand that this might be a little bit challenging for you to say, and I'm cool with this because it's my name too.
Yeah, but that's you. Most people choose not to correct people because they feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get that.
And so even though you don't necessarily think you're doing it, to some extent you are, because you know it's easier to pronounce.
I get that.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about.
No, I totally get that. But the difference is I'm not looking at it in that way. I'm still looking at it as a benefit to me. I'm looking at it like, okay, if this is the client that I'm speaking to, I have no problem if you call me one or the other. They're still my names. When you make it easy to pronounce for somebody else, you just made up a name for them. Like whoever, I don't know what example to use right now, might not like... I don't know. Give me an ethnic name that becomes Bob or Joe. You know, he just became Bob or Joe for you, but I'm not becoming Sonny for you. That's still who I am.
No, it is still who you are. Yeah. But I feel like in that same conversation, you're missing an opportunity to teach somebody something else about your culture that they might not see or get or grow from.
That's an
you know
assumption.
what I'm saying?
Nah, that's an assumption.
I'm just saying. I'm just like turning it from a different perspective.
No, I like it.
But I'm just saying those people felt uncomfortable with correcting people because they were afraid to speak up for themselves.
Agreed.
That's what they're talking about. But what I'm trying to say, like what you're saying, and it is who you are. It is your name. I'm not saying that it isn't. What I'm saying is that you're catering to them to say, hey, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity for them to grow. Because if you are constantly saying, oh, this is just easier. Hey, call me Sonny. It doesn't teach them how to say your name correctly.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like that's me though. Cause I'm not afraid to speak up and say, hey, speak my name properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess like the longer the relationship goes, I can get into all of that, but realistically,
no, from the jump, don't play with me.
There's
beginning. I'm like from the beginning, don't play with me.
I heard it from like a few years ago. I don't know if it was like a meme or something, but there was like it's like this young African girl, and not a meme. It was like a little skit or something. But it was just like she had like a long African name. I can't even pronounce it. I don't even remember it, but I can't. Like I never seen it before. It was a one-time thing. It was a long African name.
You want to try to pronounce it?
No. Why are you like this? You're fired. Right? We're letting you go. Like, I don't even work here, but we're letting you go.
Give me a sound.
But she's like, because she comes home with a different name. It's like, and mom's like, why? Who's that? It's like, oh, well, the kids can't pronounce it, whatever. Yeah. And the mom's like, well, can they pronounce Tchaikovsky? And they're like, well, yeah, mom, that's a famous composer, whatever. If they can take the time to learn Tchaikovsky, they could take time to learn.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I love that.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, that's dope.
You know what I mean? It's pride in yourself. It's pride of your lineage, pride of your heritage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, no, you know who I am.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's okay if you want to do that. But I'm just saying they felt a particular way. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Personally.
That's the common thing. And that's why they're probably reacting, well, I'm cool with sacrificing my name. Yeah. Because I don't like my name, whatever. As long as if I
they welcome me.
Yeah.
I fit in.
Right. But then other people would be like, well, I might do something else. Like if I need to eat burgers all day, then shit, man, I probably want some jerk chicken. But if I got to eat a burger all day, I'll eat a burger all day. But you're going to know what my name is. And it's just reflective of where they came from and what's important from their culture. And then
and then there's some people that just get tired of correcting you.
Yeah. Well, people get tired.
And obviously, it's
just Winder D pre. Nah, jazz is fine. Fuck, you can't. You just butchering it every time, bro. Jazz is fine.
So go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, at the end of the day, it's all individual. But what's gonna influence that individual's experience is where they come from and what they experience and how they choose to navigate it. What they choose to forego and what they choose to I think
it's a personality type too, bro.
Exactly.
Like the same way that you're saying that lady. It was a lady that told her daughter. I'm guessing, no, they're gonna know your name.
Yeah.
I love that in a way. I could also see the person in the situation just being like, I don't fucking care.
Well, yeah.
But I think the age matters too.
And once again, immigrant parent to first generation Canadian child.
Yeah. And also the parents sometimes will make an easier name for the kid for that. They look at it differently. It's interesting how I don't know.
Yeah. So that's what I learned. Their tuneness showed up in their name.
That's so interesting.
And if they had an ethnic name, if they had an accent, that also had like, that was a factor that I didn't consider, because of course I have privilege and right that I didn't even know I had access to, not only because of the color of my skin and because I benefit from colorism, but because I don't have an accent. That was something that I didn't even think about. You know what I mean? Because I was raised here. I came here when I was 4. If I was a little bit older.
Sorry. How do you feel? Like, she's like, I benefit from colorism.
It's funny that you say that. Because I was like,
So funny. Why? Is that bad? What happened?
We're about to find out what happened.
So I feel like the benefit of colorism is the guilt of the white privilege and like them recognizing the uprising that has been taking place as of late. And therefore it's like, okay, now we got to break them off a little something more to pacify them, keep them happy, that there's not a complete uproar, whatever. So I can't call it a benefit.
It's not. But the thing is, I didn't even realize I had a benefit. Because
but I know exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know the regard that you're speaking.
You know what I mean?
I get you 100%. Yeah.
But there definitely is a benefit.
There is.
Yeah.
Being closer, the proximity to whiteness is something that has always benefited people that are lighter in complexion versus darker.
What's the book we're talking about with Malcolm Gladwell?
I can't remember the name, but I know which one you're talking about. It's a white cover.
He talks about this right in. He goes right into how it does benefit you.
Yeah.
Like, he even gives examples of Jamaica specifically, where he's like, people that are slightly lighter skinned might get jobs closer to the office.
I get that. But I mean, it seems more like the benefit, I feel like.
Oh man, I feel like saying something crazy in a minute, but go.
It's so complex, but I feel like I'm gonna give you $10 instead of having to give you $100. So yeah, you're benefiting $10, but you really deserve like your work. Like, I'm gonna give you $10 labor, like sweatshops, you can call it, for example.
Instead of $5,
they have the benefit of having a job. They're privileged because some people don't even have that sweatshop back home. So they have that job. They're privileged in the sense that they have that job. But then you can look at but their job with the labor, the sweat and effort that's going in, you really deserve this. So it's like, that's how I look at colorism. Break
that down further. I don't understand.
So basically, it's like they're privileged and they're working the same job in third world country instead of working it here. And they're doing the same hard labor, the same work, even extra hours, in terrible conditions. But they're getting the job done. But they're getting paid fractions, pennies.
But it's still good for their situation.
It's good in their situation because in their situation, other people don't even have that. So it's like they have that, but what they really deserve is they should be getting. They should be working in a place that has air conditioning. There should be water. There should be getting a certain lunch and breaks, and they should be getting all this shit. So it's like this is what they deserve, and that's what I'm saying. Benefit. It's like they deserve this. So if the benefit is crumbs, it's like I can't call it a benefit. That's how I guess
that's how you like get colorism. Like, that's
basically
what you're saying?
Like if you're calling colorism a benefit, I'm like, is it a benefit?
I'm not. It's interesting how you're looking at it. I'm not looking at it like that. I don't think you're looking at it like that either.
I know, but that's why I don't know. That's my reaction, and it's funny that you you kind of asked me like, what's your reaction? Because that's kind of like
that's interesting too. Because from what I gathered, and like correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking at it like the benefits that you get from being lighter, right? The benefits I get from being lighter, and
that's another thing. That's a whole nother
interesting.
For sure, that's a whole nother thing.
Because like I didn't even know. Like I knew it was black. You know what I mean? Like my mom sat me down at 5 and she's like, you have two things that are problematic in this world that you're gonna have to work 10 times harder. And this is at 5 years old. She's like, you're a woman and you're black. So you have to work 10 times harder than anybody else to get anything and work hard for anything that you want and need and desire in this world. So I was like, okay, I got to do my thing. But I didn't know that I was a light-skinned black until I reached high school. You know what I mean? Because I was just living in, this is a black experience. We're all experiencing racism, this and that and that. But my friends that were darker than me put me on check and they were like, no, you have a benefit because you're lighter. People treat you differently because you're lighter. And I didn't see it until it happened to me, where me and friends that are lighter in complexion gone out and people gravitate towards her because her proximity to whiteness is lighter than me.
And it's on full display.
But the difference is I didn't treat her poorly because she had that benefit.
I know.
You know what I mean? I was treated poorly because I didn't even know I was a light-skinned black girl. I was like, what? Say what? You tell me what? I'm just black.
That's
period.
wild.
I don't look down on Bun because he's that much lighter and that much closer. But, you know, shout out to Bun.
But there is like,
but he knows his benefits.
He damn well knows his benefit.
But there is definitely
From jump, he knows that benefit.
There's definitely different treatment when you are lighter on the spectrum versus darker on the spectrum, and how you engage with your own community versus outside of it.
Andre 3000 wore a shirt that says something. I can't remember like verbatim, but it's like "dark girls suffer everywhere" or something to that extent. Like everywhere in the world. Like if you're no matter, and that's the thing. Like I know it's a black thing. I know it's an Indian thing. Like complexion. Like and it's just not just that. It's not confined to those two.
It's a.
All over the world.
I think it's an even Asian. I think it's a thing everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because like when you see those ladies in China holding the umbrellas,
because they don't want to get dark.
Yeah, and it's not raining.
And I only say benefit because I acknowledge the fact that my experiences may be different than somebody that is darker than me.
I know exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's a benefit. I'm black. Period.
I get it.
And the conversation, but at the same time, there are things that I didn't acknowledge before that I realize now, because people are now talking about their experiences being darker and the things, the microaggressions that they've experienced, and the microaggressions that I've experienced are different than their experiences, and maybe not as frequent. Maybe it's not as blatant. Maybe it's like underneath the table. You know what I mean? So now I'm more aware of the fact that yes, it's happening, but at different levels.
Different levels. Perfect segue. So I'm just gonna throw this out there for fun because I'm just thinking about it right now, right? So Barack Obama, right?
Yeah.
If he's super dark black, right? Mm-hmm. You think he's still? I get it. I'm not.
No, that's a very, very legitimate question. And to be honest, I'm pretty much there.
So on that note, just because like again, my head's there right now, right? What's her face from Suits that married into the royal family?
Meghan Markle.
Yo, is that like? Let's just say she's exactly.
Of course, she's passable for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But do you still think that she wasn't treated like every other dark like
hold up. Back to your example of what they deserve and what they're getting in the sweatshop because it's slightly better. So my point being, if she's darker, you think she's in that position? Or
probably not. No. Probably not, because
is that crazy?
Because the vitriol would be more blatant. It would be more it'd be more direct. It'd be more fierce.
Man.
That we can't say what he would do, but pretty sure he would cave, and like he has to let her go.
Like again, I don't know any of this stuff, but I feel like would it just be up to him though? I feel like
that institution. It's not just up to him.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
The same way you're talking about closer to whiteness, closer to the crown. The closer you get to that crown, now you gotta have shit.
Shout out to the queen. She's like 93. She's like, Charles, you ain't getting this. Nah, you're not getting it. I don't want you to marry this woman or something like. There's some history there, right? Yeah.
Oh shit,
that's wild.
SB, you kill me now.
Yeah, that's funny. I think we're getting to that point right now. So if we're ending
on that note, it's time for prayer.
There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah.
All right, are we ready?
We are ready.
Awesome. Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly come before you. We just want to say thank you. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to share our ideals in a safe space, Lord Father God, that you have cultivated. Lord, I pray that you will continue to bless everyone that comes here, that works on this project, that does what they do behind the scenes, because I know that the work is tremendous, Lord Father God. But keep them inspired and encouraged to cultivate these types of spaces, to have sincere and transparent conversation with their guests and everyone, Lord Father God. I thank you, Lord, for this day that you have made, for it is a day like none other, and it will be a day that we never see again. So let us be inspired to live wholly and fully in our true, authentic self, and we give you all the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. That's what's up. Woo!